All right, so we are officially recording. It is on, baby. So first off, I'd like to thank all of you for being here today. I want to thank all of you for joining, being part of this challenge, challenging yourself. We'll go deeper into the details of the presentation of what the diet challenge will entail. Make sure that you mute yourself if you're just hopping on. Specifically, I'd like to thank Leslie. I don't know if many of you guys know this, but I actually grew up in the film industry. There's a lot of electricians in the film field, gaffers and whatnot. And so I grew up in the corporate world. And one of the things I've actually mentioned to Leslie is I really appreciate how much she really cares about you guys and doing this diet challenge to keep you guys really healthy. And it's one of the things I really love about working with you guys. So I'm very grateful for that. So let's just get in here. Let me pull up my presentation. And I'm going to just do it from the edit screen. So in case anybody else jumps in, I can let them into the call. So WBE Diet Challenge 2021. And like I said, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to save some time for the end. Oops, yeah, I still got people hopping in. So beautiful. So WBE Diet Challenge 2021, conscious eating and a healthy lifestyle. And that's what this is all about, specifically conscious eating, okay? Because we're going to go into this more of how sometimes in our lives we go unconscious and we're actually eating our emotions, or we're feeding our emotions. So we'll go deeper into that. I wanted to give you guys a little update on who I am. If you haven't met me before, or some of you do know me, I've coached some of you, and I miss many of you who I haven't seen in a while. But who am I? Odysseus Andrianos. I've done 20,000 hours of coaching over 20 years. Last year, I closed my gym of 11 years that I ran in Nevada over by Whole Foods, and I built this camper van. I call it the Obi-Wan Kenobi camper van. My dad actually worked on Revenge of the Jedi just before I was born. And so I named the van Obi-Wan Kenobi. I got a little heart there. Thank you. I love that. So I've been traveling the last few months, or last month, I was actually traveling through, went to Arizona, went to New Mexico, went to Colorado, went to Utah. And this picture is actually me in Moab. So I highly recommend going out on some travels if you get a chance. I had a blast traveling, and I've been working remotely in my camper van. Now, specifically, what's changed for me is I recently got certified as a trauma coach. Now, specifically, the future of the coaching industry, I'm sure many of you will agree, that there's a lot of trauma going on in the world with COVID, with everybody being stuck at home. So I specifically have gotten certified as a trauma coach because I've realized that people don't necessarily struggle with diet and exercise. They struggle with their mental and emotional health internally, and it shows up as struggles with diet and exercise externally. So I just got my first certification. I'm planning on getting another one later this year. Probably won't be done until next year, but that's a huge thing for me, is going deeper with people and specifically working with shadow work, NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, and Taoist healing. Now, what that means is shadow work is working with the unconscious, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. NLP, which is essentially, which is funny, is Obi-Wan Kenobi, is Jedi mind tricks, where I teach you self-hypnosis techniques to actually reprogram your subconscious and unconscious mind. And one of the things I'm really excited about is blending Taoist healing principles, which I'll gently touch on today. But like, if you guys want to learn more, please let me know. But Taoist healing principles is essentially based upon what's called the 5 elements of Chinese medicine. And what happens is, like I said, I'm just touching on this, is that you have 5 elements. And if you could be out of balance, like wood is associated with your liver, fire is associated with the heart, and water is associated with your kidneys. Now, you may need more of like the wood element to feed the fire of your heart, or you may need more water to feed the wood. So what happens is, in Taoist healing, is you actually examine how these elements are out of balance. And it's a way of teaching yourself how to be your own healer. Essentially, my goal is to build a tribe of healers. I'm actually launching my first group coaching program, teaching this next week, actually. If you have any interest in that, please let me know. It's a little side thing that I'm working on. And I'll actually be launching retreats in 2022. I'm going to do retreats outdoors. I feel like we got to get back to nature. So this picture of me, like I said, is me in Moab. Here's one other picture of me in my travels. I was at the Delicate Arches right near Moab too. Beautiful place. Highly recommend checking it out. So a little update on what's going on with me. But let's get into this. The key thing is, when you want to accomplish your goal, it's really good to look at starting with the end. So what is the end goal? Where are we going with this diet challenge? Where are we going when we want to make changes in our lives? So we want to look at what is the result that we are seeking. So I want to plant this seed in your mind so that you have a vision of where we are going. What is the end result? So essentially, the first step is we want to lose weight, right? We want to shed some pounds. And what this is going to do, it's going to help us to feel better, right? We all lost a little weight or gained some weight. We lose some weight. You're shedding some energy as well. And we'll go more into that as I talk more about some basics of shadow work. What this does is it improves our relationships. The key thing is you improve your relationship with yourself. It improves the relationships of everybody around you, right? What also happens is we're going to simplify your life. What I mean by simplifying your life, by changing your diet and simplifying your diet, it's going to create less stress and confusion in your life. So you're going to be like, well, what do I eat? What do I eat? We're going to make it really easy for you so you can pick between these different diets. And that's going to make it easier for you to have more clarity. And that's going to allow you to show up more authentically and have more success on all levels of your life. That's why I love teaching this stuff, because when we actually create these subtle changes in our lives internally, it makes a massive change externally. When we change our diet, we change our way of life, which we're going to talk about more. And that makes it easier to change other aspects of our life because we have that clarity, less confusion and less stress. You're going to feel more comfortable in your body. Now, I'll be straight with you guys. When I was traveling, I was enjoying eating whatever I wanted, exploring different states and whatnot, trying different foods. And it was fun, but I couldn't wait to get back on my diet or my way of life. And so that's specifically the last few weeks. I've been on a diet that I've been sharing with you guys later today. And I feel so much better. I feel so much more comfortable in my body. I've actually already lost like 5 pounds in the last couple of weeks. Another powerful point, which I love sharing, is you're going to set an example for your kids and your family. For years now, like I said, I've been coaching for about 20 years, is that when I work with like mothers or fathers, one of the most powerful things is they tell me the stories of how like they changed their diet, they changed their way of life, they were exercising, and they saw their kids started exercising and their kids started to change. So that's what I've always said for years as a coach, is my goal for you is to be like a drop of water where you're creating a ripple affecting the lives of everybody around you. And that's essentially what you guys, when you're doing this diet challenge together, you're like a tribe, you're working together, you're motivating each other, and you're helping each other to perform at your best. But it has, like I said, a ripple effect also in your families when you go home too. Your kids are going to see that you have a better, healthy lifestyle, and that's going to affect them for the rest of their lives. Now, in this next point, probably one of the most crucial of all, is to reduce your risk of dis-ease. There's disease, but there's dis-ease. And often dis-ease arises from a poor diet and not taking care of what we're choosing to put in our bodies. Like for me personally, I don't have a perfect diet year round. Like I said, I went traveling, but I don't feel good if I eat whatever I want all the time. So the key is to have a balance in your life. Okay. So I'm not saying you have to be on top of your diet all the time, but let's step our diet game up for the next 6 weeks so you can enjoy the holidays and not feel so guilty. Now, here's a couple pain points. Now, this is like, I want to gently scare you guys into taking this seriously. Now, why would I do a diet? I don't know about this diet thing. Who's this guy, Odie, diets? What's he talking about? So like I said, this is to gently scare you guys. The average cost of diabetes is $16,750 a year. It's $167,500 over 10 years. Just going over some stats here. And I just picked these up off the internet. I just Googled them. So if you were like fact checking me and stuff like that, I just picked it up off the internet. So average cost of heart disease, nearly $20,000 a year. That's $200,000 over 10 years. Average cost of cancer ranges between $48,000 and $250,000 a year. My mother had breast cancer a few years ago. We got her through that. It was like, it's not even the money, it's more the emotional effect that it has on yourself and your family as well, going through these things. And that can also, some of this stuff leads to the cost of depression, a huge thing. Like I said, I'm becoming a trauma coach because there's so many people suffering from anxiety and depression, and they're going to drugs. Not that I think drugs are bad, but oftentimes if you make subtle changes in your diet or your way of life, you can start eliminating some of your drugs. On a side note, my dad's actually, next week, he'll be completely off all prescription drugs because we got his diet right and we got him exercising consistently with me, which I'm really proud of. He actually had a minor heart surgery a few months ago, which is a little bit of a scare, but I'm so grateful. And now we got him off drugs. I'm like, go Pops. Yes, Dad. That's what I'm talking about. Speaking of which, with the heart, every 40 seconds, someone dies from heart attack, stroke, or vascular disease. Every 40 seconds, you guys. So this is serious. Like I said, I want to gently scare you guys into taking this seriously as an appeal to emotion, because people don't change with logic. They change with their emotions. I'll be sharing more about that when we talk about the unconscious. And the key thing here, you guys, is to recognize health has become a commodity. The sicker you are, the better it is for the economy. Healthcare costs are going up. So the best thing that you can do is dive into this diet challenge, and you're not competing with anybody else but yourself. You want to show up as the best and most authentic version of yourself, because that's going to help you to perform better on all aspects of your life. And that's why I love teaching this stuff. I just love seeing people change. Like our last diet challenge, we had Tony De La Soto lost 32.5 pounds in 6 weeks. So that's the kind of results that you can get when you do these diet challenges, because like I said, it's really about challenging yourself. So the key thing is, like, why are people getting sick? It's the system. The system is broken. Like we could say our medical system is broken, or our education system is broken. The way that we're living our lives is broken. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing, because what is a system? It's save yourself time, energy, and money. I'm going to say that again because this is how you build a successful business, build a successful relationship. This is how we build a better world. We have to have better systems and save yourself time, energy, and money. You can steal that. But you better give me credit. I'm just joking. But that's what it's all about. You want to have better quality systems. We have better quality systems. Like you guys at WBE, you have a system that works. That's why you have a successful business. If you don't have a good system, your business wouldn't work. So you have to examine what are the systems that we're utilizing to build a successful relationship within ourselves. And a big part of that is how we're eating, the foods we're choosing to eating, and how our emotions are affecting us, which we're going to start getting into next. So first off, if we want to have a better system, we have to identify what's not working. Quick sip of water. So what's not working? If you look at like your business, you got to look at the ins and outs, the bottom line, what's working and what is working. So key thing here, this is so crucial. What are the limiting beliefs, stories, or thought patterns that are holding us back in the unconscious mind? Really crucial here. Now you notice I have a picture of the thinker. Now I actually went to Paris, France, and I saw the actual sculpture of the thinker. It was like really cool. I was sitting there taking pictures, sipping on French wine. No, I wasn't actually doing that, but I was enjoying the sculpture. And what I found was interesting is not too far from the sculpture of the thinker, there's another sculpture called the Gates of Hell. And right at the very top in the center of the Gates of Hell is the thinker. And I actually read this recently on a book on trauma. It said that you can create heaven out of hell and hell out of heaven within your own mind. And that's what's so crucial about unconscious trauma or things that are going on below the surface in our minds. And this will make more sense as I progress through this, because what are limiting beliefs? This is the stuff that's actually holding people back. It's stories like, I'm not good enough. That's a big one. I'm not worthy of love. Money doesn't grow on trees. I'll never be able to change. Or some kind of story in your mind about, oh, my parents were this way and this is the way that I am too. It's when we start to identify the stories and the thought patterns. This is what I'm talking about with shadow work. It's like this voice in the background, in the back of your head saying, you're not good enough. You're not worthy, right? And so it's identifying these stories. That's what we must identify to make long-term changes in our lives. This is why I like teaching diet is so easy for me these days, guys. Teaching exercise is easy. It's this deeper stuff and actually acknowledging the shadow or unconscious material that's actually holding us back. That's the next generation of coaching. I'm telling you guys, check it out in the next few years, shadow work and working with the unconscious mind and working with trauma. Because if you don't identify these things, those stories are going to keep coming back in your life. It's going to keep affecting you. The key thing to recognize is eliminating these barriers is what sets us free. It liberates us. The word libere in Latin means to free. So we're going to liberate ourselves and set ourselves free from these chains of these stories we have in our past. So an example of a barrier is the word diet, right? So if you've seen my speeches in the past, you've heard me explain this before, but what does the word diet actually mean? Some people say, oh, diets, I hate diets. I don't like dieting. But the truth is the word diet in Latin is dieta. It means way of life. So when your friend comes over and says, oh, you're doing a diet, I don't like diets. Diets don't ever work. It's like diet just means way of life. So no matter what you're eating, it's really just your way of life. So this is what I mean by barriers. This is an example that you can have a barrier in your mind that diets don't work, but it's just your way of life that's not actually working. That's one of the things being a coach. I have to be honest with people. It's not diets. It's not the diet's not working. It's your way of life. And so when you examine that changes the meaning. That's so crucial here, you guys. Identifying that we must change the meaning to change the behavior. I'm going to say it again. We must change the meaning to change the behavior. The key point first, though, is to change the meaning. What's triggering us? Okay, this comes back to where I'm doing with trauma work, shadow work, helping people heal the unconscious mind. Because if we keep looping into the old stories, we're going to keep showing up and having the same problems affecting us. So what's triggering you? It could be friends, family, coworkers. Who or what is triggering our emotions? Because the key thing here, even though I'm speaking very logically to you guys, logic doesn't change things. Emotions do. I'm going to say that again. Your logical mind, you can sit and analyze the heck out of anything, but it's really about your emotional attachments in the unconscious that is really running your life. It's really running the show. This is what I mean by shadow work or unconscious material. It's those emotions below the surface that you're actually feeding that are keeping you from living the life of your dreams. And that's why I love talking about this stuff. So here's an example. I believe I've shared this with you guys in past presentations, but I share this in my shadow work course, my shadow awakening course, because this is the addiction cycle. And you can actually see this in other people. One of the things I love about teaching shadow work is once you integrate your shadow or your unconscious material, you begin to recognize other people projecting their shadow into you. But the key thing too, that recently one of my fellow coaches that I taught my Shadow Awakening program is she realized when she's triggered, and she realizes when she's triggering other people. And she said it's helped her with all of her relationships in her life. So you got to realize what your triggers are. What is the stimulus? Once you recognize your triggers, then you can begin to shift the meaning. I'm not good enough. We get triggered like, I'm not good enough. Wait, where'd that story come from? Because what happens is we get in the cycle. Often people get triggered, they fall back into the same emotions and the same behaviors. So it's just that we get triggered and then we go to the emotion, the behavior. The key thing is to slow ourselves down enough to recognize when you're triggered. Once you recognize the trigger, then you can change the meaning, the logic. But once you change that meaning, then the emotions begin to shift. Because many of us, including myself, I've worked on this in my own life too, is you're unconsciously emotionally addicted. And that's why the behaviors keep showing up. For years as a coach, people are like, I want to change this, I want to change that. We don't change behaviors, guys. We have to recognize the triggers, change the meaning, and then the emotions, just like I said on that last slide, it's right here. It's logic doesn't change things. It's our emotional attachments. And that's where trauma embedded in the unconscious mind is where the biggest shift occurs. Because otherwise you're just spiraling out of control in your life. You get triggered, you're falling back on the same meaning, same emotions, same behaviors. And like, oh, I've been triggered. I'm going to go eat sugar. I'm going to go drink alcohol. I'm going to go use a drug, whatever it is. I mean, sugar, alcohol, those are all drugs too. You know what I'm saying? So once we get clear on what the triggers are, then we can change the meaning, change the emotions, and then we start spiraling upwards instead of spiraling out of control in our lives. Now, how do our emotions work? Okay, this is such a crucial point because this is the future of coaching. To me, the future of health, the future of healing, the future of medicine. It's really about learning how our emotions work and how it's affecting our nervous system. Because like I said, people are hardwired. You get triggered, and there's a hormonal response, and you're emotionally addicted to that hormonal trigger. Like people often aren't angry at things externally. They're addicted to the anger internally. So they're seeking things externally to project their anger onto you. But it's really about healing your own internal stuff that actually allows you to make a massive shift in your life. Oh, cool. So a direct message. Thank you. All right. So keep going along here. Some of our emotions are actually running our lives unconsciously. So like I said, I'm like giving you guys a crash course in some of the stuff that I'm teaching in my Shadow Awakening program. If you want to learn more about this, please let me know. I said that at the end here. But some of our emotions are running our lives unconsciously. Now, what does that mean? They're like, what does unconscious mean? We're not taught this stuff. This is the deeper psychology that's going to be coming out in the next few years of shadow work and not working with unconscious trauma, right? So this is all like Freudian and Jungian psychology. There's what's going on above the surface that we see consciously, but it's really the stuff below the surface, the subconscious and unconscious mind. Because what's happening is it's our suppressed, repressed, and denied emotions that are actually running our lives below the surface. And this is what I mean by shadow work. You can't see it. That's why it's called shadow. The shadow is not good or bad. It's just when you're repressing guilt, shame, anger, grief, sadness, and you're holding it below the surface, you're wasting energy, first of all, because you're suppressing it. But then you're often like you're eating and you're actually feeding those emotions. You're eating unconsciously, and that's where you're feeding your emotions. This is where, like I said, the future of medicine, health, and healing is working with our emotions. This is where, like shadow work, you work with your shadow, then you integrate those repressed emotions, and then you awaken your shadows. This is kind of the deeper stuff that I'm teaching. Like I said, crash course today with you guys. But this is why we struggle with our diet, our way of life, because we're repressing emotions. When we work with those emotions and we heal our emotions, then we can actually show up more authentically and change our lives. You guys will actually notice some of this stuff as you're doing this work with the diet challenge. If you like more information on this stuff, please let me know when we jump on calls for setting you up with your weight and everything with the diet challenge. So diet challenge details. Let's dive into this. We're doing pretty good on time. I got 8 minutes here. Luckily, I can talk fast. So diet challenge. It's time to change your way of life, baby. Let's do it. So let's go over the details. Here's how it's going down. 6-week challenge starting this week. Contact me to do the first assessment. I'll be emailing you guys either by the end of today or I'll get the email tomorrow morning. If some of you guys already have my information, you can email me or text me. I'll have my phone number at the end of the presentation. There'll be $100 put in a pot for each sign up. The pot will be shared with everyone who loses 5% of your body weight. An example, if you're 250 pounds, you got to lose 12.5 pounds, which is totally doable in 6 weeks. Like I said, Tony De La Soto lost 32.5 pounds in 6 weeks. So if he can do it, so can you. The more signups, the bigger the pot. So sign up to help support the tribe. This is the whole thing. The more you guys do this and commit to this, the more you're going to be supporting each other. It's going to help you guys to improve your way of life, right? We've been talking about that. And like I said, my main sales point is like, don't you want to lose some pounds before the holiday season? You want to keep eating whatever you want to go to the holiday season and gain even more weight? let's lose some weight before we go into the holiday season, right? That's why I'm doing the same thing. Like, I don't eat mashed potatoes and gravy except for one time a year, Thanksgiving. And it's going to be great. I'm going to appreciate it so much more because I haven't had any mashed potatoes and gravy the whole year. All right, we're doing a little bit differently this time. We're doing 4 different ways of fasting, okay? And if you don't want to fast, it's totally fine. I still have the old diets that we've done in past diet challenges, and I can share that information with you too. So just let me know. There's no pressure, maybe just a little bit. But the whole goal is I want you to be comfortable, but not too comfortable as you make these changes. You never go in your comfort zone, guys. You got to know that. You never go in your comfort zone. So let's go over these diets real briefly. And I'm going to be sending you all the details for this information, so you'll have access to all this. You can ask me questions on your calls when you check in with me. So we have the 16-8. This is one of the most common ways of doing a fasting diet. And there's more than these 4 ways. These are just the 4 most simplest ways. This is why I chose them. The 16-8 involves fasting every day for about 16 hours and then eating 8 hours a day. You generally can fit in 2 to 3 smaller meals. Part of this is just eating smaller meals, so it kind of shrinks your stomach and your body gets used to having smaller meals, which allows you to lose weight. But basically, you skip breakfast and you don't eat after dinner. So an example is like you eat between the hours of 10 and 6 p.m. Sometimes for me, I'll do like 11 and 7. Or 12 to 8 if I'm going to be up a little bit later. But generally, you don't want to have too much food in your stomach before you go to bed. The 5-2 involves cutting back your eating to 2 days a week to 500 to 600 calories a day. You eat normally all other days, but generally eating 2 smaller meals on fasting days. So that's another great one. The weekend warrior method. So involves, I've actually had really a lot of success with this one, is you only eat small meals of fruits and vegetables during the day and then 1 huge meal for dinner. This is a really good one if you want to up your vegetables and fruits, which I highly recommend for any of these diets. The alternate day method involves fasting every other day, and then you eat normally one day, and the next day you cut back to 500 calories. If you want to lose the most weight, you're going to lose the most weight on that one because you're really restricting your caloric intake. So some of you guys that are not really trying to lose weight, some of you guys that are, I know like some of you guys I coach, you want to put on more muscle mass. Even if you're not trying to lose weight, picking one of these diets will help you get lean for the next 6 weeks, and you can gain that weight back on as you go into the holiday season. Because as I mentioned, you're going to be eating more food during the holiday season, or most people do. So what do I eat? You guys ever heard of the KISS principle? I want you to kiss yourselves. I want you to hug yourselves and love yourselves. Keep it simple, silly. It's the KISS principle. So nuts, berries, fruits, and vegetables should be the foundation for any diet. I tell everybody, it's like nuts, berries, fruits, vegetables. Keep some trimming. I know you guys have food in the kitchen, but like if you have certain specific things that you like, like I like some of the trail mixes they have at like Trader Joe's. Keep that stuff handy. Or when you're out and about in your car, keep some trail mix in your car. So that way, when you're craving something, you're in your window when you can eat, you've got something there to keep you fueled and keep you going. Because the nuts specifically, right here, focusing on good fats like avocado, fish, and nuts helps your brain function. Okay, so that's a great option if you up your avocado, fish, and nuts. Okay, if you're eating fish. High quality sources of meat. I know some of you guys don't eat meat, some of you guys do. I recommend like no mystery meat. I've always said that in these challenges, like no mystery, like what's in this bologna? I don't even know, man. Like there's some weird mystery meats out there. So do your best to avoid the mystery meat. I recommend eating less red meat as well. Limit your caffeine. Switch to green tea or yerba mate instead of coffee. I know some of you guys aren't going to do that, but just do your best to cut back a little bit. It's still a good way to have some. You can have like black coffee and it's still considered being fasting, or have green tea or yerba mate. It's going to help stave off your hunger, so you're not craving so much. But I mean, in general, just make sure you're drinking more water to help you not be so hungry. That's the other side of this. When you're fasting, you have to drink more water so you don't get as hungry. So just keep pounding that water, and it'll make it so you're not going to get as hungry in between your meals. Key points here, guys: eliminate processed foods, eliminate fried foods. You know how much better it's going to taste after taking this time off. It's one of my favorite things. You take 6 weeks, strict diet, 6 to 8 weeks or so, and you come back and you're like, bread tastes like freaking candy. You know what I'm saying? After you're taking this time off. So really limit those types of things. Shop the perimeter of the grocery store, and specifically cut or limit the white stuff, the cocaine. Cut it out. I'm just joking. Cut the bread, the pasta, the rice, the potatoes, the white stuff. It's just empty calories. You want to eat more colors. I've said that before in past diet challenges. The more colors, the better. Okay, so that's what's giving you more nutrients and whatnot. Join the challenge. Contact me for support at any time during the challenge. I'm here to support you guys. Literally, I have 20,000 hours of coaching. I've helped my mom lose 60 pounds. I remember it took my mom 6 years to finally hire me as a coach. She was like, you're doing a really good job helping people lose weight, Odie. I'm like, yeah, Mom, maybe we should try it sometime. And she lost 60 pounds in 5 months. If I can help my mom lose weight, I want to brag. I feel like I can help anybody lose weight, because the truth is, it's more about the stuff I shared at the beginning. It's more about the psychology, what's going on in the unconscious. And I'd love to talk about that stuff. If you have any more questions about shadow work, Taoist healing, or NLP, I got some cool NLP techniques that I can share with you too to help you with reprogramming your mind. Check me out, Odie1Kenobi on Instagram. I just got on TikTok. I'm posting more and more videos. I do regular videos on shadow work on Instagram, some really good nuggets of wisdom there. There's my phone number if you want to shoot me a text. Have my information on hand if you need support. Leslie asked me, it's optional to do weekly check-ins with me. The more we can communicate, the better. I want to hold you guys accountable. There's two most important things we need: accountability and community. That's going to allow us to be successful. My new website, odysseymentorship.com. Check it out. I got a bunch of free videos on shadow work there as well if you want to learn more about that stuff. Like I said, shadow work, trauma coaching, that is the future of coaching. I have so many friends in the coaching industry, and they're all about it. Shadow work, trauma healing, because the whole goal is to move the world from a trauma-based society to a trauma-informed society. The more we actually heal our trauma, generational wounds, the more we heal the world. But you do that specifically with your diet and your way of life. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll email everybody who signs up. I'm going to get all your information and make sure you contact Stephanie or whoever, and I'll get all your information. I will contact you later today or tomorrow morning. And this is me actually out in Sedona. I love those clouds there. It was so beautiful out there. And making pretty good time here. This is my new logo, Odyssey Mentorship, OM, because I do teach meditations. If you want some meditations, I have those as well for you guys. But boom, perfect timing, 12:29. I know you guys got all kinds of busy meetings and fun things you got to get to. You all had your lunch. Hopefully you feel inspired, pumped up, excited. And as I mentioned, if you guys need support at any time throughout this diet challenge, I'm here to serve you, support you, and guide you to absolute greatness. So thank you all for coming, tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this presentation. I have recorded it, so I'll shoot that to you guys as well. Any questions?
Yeah, one thing, Odie, I just want to say, everyone's on the line here. We usually end up at the end of this with anywhere from half to maybe 3/4 that finish these up. And it'd be really nice to see if we can get more that don't go sideways. So when Odie says, this week accountability, some people have talked before about Weight Watchers having that accountability. So he's happy to FaceTime you and watch you weigh on your scale each week, or you can send him a picture of your scale each week so that he sees that. And I've worked out with Odie for years, and one of the things there's no judgmental in him at all. So when we do this and you gain a pound, Odie would say, oh yeah, I ate pizza with my guy when I went off on it, and I went ahead and had beer with it, right? So, so it's actually not bad. So it's nothing to be afraid of talking to Odie and doing that accountability piece, if it works for you.
Yeah, I'm here to support you guys. I mean, just to kind of touch on what you said, Leslie, is Shakespeare said, nothing is either good or bad, thinking makes it so. Kind of like I said, it's more unconscious. And one other key point is there's no such thing as a good or a bad emotion. There's only stuck emotions. And remember, when you're unconsciously eating, you're feeding those stuck emotions. So I'd love to share more about that stuff with you guys with some of the shadow work material that I'm teaching. So yeah, I'm here to support you guys. I'll shoot you guys an email in the next 24 hours or so, and we will be connected. And I'm like Leslie said, I'm totally here to support you guys through all this. And I really love the opportunity to do this with you guys. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing the results. Last diet challenge, I think we lost like 120 pounds or something as a group. Let's do it again, baby. Let's beat that record. Let's do it. Let's all team up and kick butt. Thank you.
Thank you.
If anybody has any last minute questions, you can tune in, or you can just ask me when I email you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ode.
Toodaloo.
Thank you.
Toodaloo, y'all. Toodaloo.
Thank you. So Odie, this is Joe.
Yo.
So you're emailing everybody that was on this call to get started, or do we need to send you something saying we want in?
I'll email you. I'll get the details of everybody who signed up, and I'll email all you guys. And then it'll be in the next 24 hours, probably 12 hours. I'll get back to you guys by tomorrow, the latest.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right, man. Take care. Great to see you.
All right.